Hi everybody, welcome back to Sunshine Soap and Candle Company. I've gotten several requests to share with you how to make lip oil. So today I'm going to be sharing with you how to make lip oil two different ways. In this video today, I'm going to be going over my full visual process and step-by-step tutorial of how to make these two lip oils. And if you would like both of these recipes plus a full written, detailed, step-by-step tutorial including percentages so you can scale up or down as you like, please head on over to my Patreon campaign. Both of these will be available over there in the same document at just the $5 level. If you haven't had a chance to check out my campaign yet, I really hope that you'll consider it. I'll go ahead and leave the link to my campaign in the description box below for you. There are hundreds of recipes and tutorials for you to take advantage of and take a look at just at the $5 level. I hope you'll consider coming over and joining the already thousands of makers who've already come over. It's a great way to connect with me and other makers. There are several tiers for you to take a look at and take advantage of, each with their own unique benefits. So I really hope that you'll come on over. We're approaching our 5-year anniversary over there, so there's just a wealth of information for you to take advantage of. All right, let's get started. All right, so we're just using this tiny scale here. I'm making micro batches of each one because it takes me quite a while to go through lip gloss, and I'm only just making batches for myself today. So you might also be noticing that I'm talking a little bit different. I did get Invisalign braces, and I will have to be wearing them pretty consistently for about a year. So hopefully we'll see some progress in how my teeth align. That's what I'm hoping for. Anyway, it's been quite the process with all of that stuff lately. So the first one we're gonna do, we're just gonna make it in this little beaker here, and that way we can pour it into our lip gloss containers when we're done making it. So the first thing we're gonna do is weigh off a real powdery, lightweight ingredient. I recommend wearing a good dust mask, especially if you're going to be using quantities bigger than what I'm using today. As you can see, I have this in a plastic Ziploc bag because it just goes airborne super fast when you open and close it, and it's gotten inside the Ziploc bag as well. This is Silica Dimethyl Silylate, and it is an oil gellant used in lip glosses and lipsticks and body scrubs and all kinds of things. So we're going to go ahead and weigh off the silica. Again, be very careful with this ingredient because it goes super airborne. You just want to protect your lungs. So this is going to create a gel base for our oils. And it's so lightweight, it looks like I'm weighing off a ton of this stuff, but really it just reduces down once you add in your oils. So just go super slow with this ingredient. And this ingredient, if you're already a patron of mine and you've made one of my sugar scrub tutorials calls for this ingredient. So again, in my effort to use up ingredients that we already may have on hand, this is the oil gellant of choice that we're using. Hopefully you have it. If not, you can get it at TKB. You can get it at Making Cosmetics. And I know that there are lots of other ways to create lip oils. This is just the way I'm sharing with you today, and I find it to be very effective. All right, perfect. All right, next up is castor oil. Now this recipe is mostly comprised of castor oil, so we are using it for its viscosity. Castor oil is a very viscous and thick oil, and it has a sticky profile to it, which makes it great for lip glosses and lip oils because you want the product to stick onto your lips and feel substantial. I think when lip oils are too thin, they just kind of go inside of your lips a little bit, like it's very easy to ingest them. I find they just kind of go inside your mouth if they're too thin and they don't stick onto the outside lip where you want them. So a castor oil, in my opinion, is pretty necessary in this type of recipe. I just need the tiniest bit more. Okay, perfect. Next, we're gonna be weighing off some jojoba oil. Jojoba oil is a waxy oil. Another great one for lip oils because it's super hydrating, but also feels substantial on the lips. It's also very nourishing, very, very good for you. It's the closest oil to our own skin oil. So I find it just to be a very good one for use all over your hair, your face, lotions, and lip balms. The last oil we're going to be adding in, actually not the last oil, but one of the last oils we're going to be adding in is some argan oil. Argan oil just has a very silky, smooth profile, and it's also very nourishing, making it another great one for the lips. We're using this one at the smallest rate in this recipe, just because it is a rather expensive oil. Then we're going to be adding in some flavor oil. You could add in a sweetener and a flavor oil. Today I'm just going to be adding in a little bit of this mixed berry flavor by TKB. Now it's going to be more of just a smell because I'm not adding any sweetener, but I like my lip balms and my lip oils and lip glosses to have some sort of fresh smell to them, like berries or mint or lemon. It just keeps them smelling nice and fresh. So we're going to be adding in a little bit of this mixed berry. Whatever you add, it needs to be lip safe. So you can't just go adding in any fragrance oil. You have to make sure that it is a lip safe fragrance oil, otherwise known as a flavor oil. If you wanted it to taste, you have to add a little bit of sweetener, which you can also do if you like. Okay. Then we're just going to go ahead and add in some vitamin E oil. And this is just going to help to preserve the shelf life of our oils and keep everything fresh. Okay. Now, I'm not going to add any pigment yet. What I'm going to do is stir everything up and then set it aside. So you're going to take this beaker. First, I got to wipe it down. All right. Now I'm just going to take a little lab spoon. You can use a stirring rod or a lab spoon. And what I'm going to do is submerge the silica into the oil and get it nice and dispersed in there. So again, this is an oil gellant, so this will not disperse in water. The silica, this is why we're using it in our lip oil formula. Okay, so now I've gotten it all dispersed into the oil here. I'm going to give it a good stir and just make sure I've moved all the product down into the oil. And we're going to just allow it to hydrate. Right now, as you can see, it's just very clumpy, and we need to allow the oil to hydrate the silica, and then we're going to have a very smooth and homogeneous looking lip oil. And then what I'll do when it's finished is add some pigment. So while this is hydrating, I'm going to go ahead and set this aside. It can take a few hours to hydrate, up to overnight. So give this some time to just really work. I'm going to go ahead and set this aside, and then we'll make our second batch. All right, now this second batch that we're making does require the use of a base, and hopefully you guys have some of this. If you've been following me for a while and you've made my other lip gloss formulas, then you've seen me use this base called versagel. This also came from TKB. I've had this around for a while, and I've actually had this idea in my head very early on when I purchased this, and I'm just now getting to share a formula with it, other than the first one I showed you, which was just to add the flavor and the color. So we're gonna actually turn this base into a lip oil. I wanted to give you two options. This is why I showed you the one from scratch first, and then this one I wanted to also share with you. It's just good information to have, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with using a base and to formulate your own recipe. So, and plus the versagel base is really, really awesome. I love the way it feels. It has the perfect lip gloss consistency. So all we're gonna do here is weigh off some base. Now I'm using a little tiny container here. I'm making half the amount that we just made from scratch. So it's just a very tiny batch. So the first thing I'm gonna do is just go ahead and weigh off the versagel. This is so easy, you guys. And I really like the way it turns out. So this may be the one that you end up going with. Wow, I did pretty good there. So the next thing we're gonna do is add in some oil. Now, again, this was something that I had in mind for a really long time, and finally got around to formulating it, and I really like the results. So we're gonna actually be adding in some jojoba oil. And the way that I've gone about figuring this out is I've placed the versagel base into a container, then I've added in little increments of oil until I got the consistency that I wanted. And that's basically all you do. So we're gonna go ahead and just add in the oil. And I know exactly what the ratio is now after having worked this out. Now this again can be adjusted and is to your liking. I've worked out a ratio of gel, versagel, and oil that I like for a lip oil. I kind of like it, like I said in the beginning, kind of on the thicker side so that it's sticking to your outside lips and not going inside your mouth. I'm just gonna do another tiny bit of vitamin E. And then again, I'm gonna add in my sweetener. I'm just gonna use the mixed berry again. Now, I'm gonna take a spatula, a really clean spatula. Just be careful if you're using a container like mine that you're not spilling over the edge. Start slow because you wanna incorporate the oil into the gel. Once it's incorporated and you can stir a little faster, you wanna stir vigorously to get it all mixed in. It is easier to use a small spatula with this method, I find, than a stirring rod. It just helps to get everything picked up off of the sides and moved into the gel. Okay, I'm going to show you the texture now. So this is how it comes out. I'll try to lift up my spatula so you can see. See that? It's just a nice thick oil, and that's pretty much it. You could leave it plain, no color, if you wanted to. Check that out. But today we're going to be adding in some color so I can show you what that looks like as well. And the color is also to your liking. So I'm going to be using some fun colors today. I am going to be using, in this one, I'm going to be using the TKB color called Echo. And it's a very light kind of pink color, but actually when it comes out, it's got some kind of purple iridescence to it. It's really pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit in there. It looks totally different when it's dispersed than what it does in the powder, which is interesting. I'm probably putting about 1/4 teaspoon in there, which is sort of a lot of pigment for the tiny amount that we're making, but it doesn't really show up dark like that. So I'm just gonna mix in my color slowly. It's got such a beautiful, I can't wait to show you, to reveal the color. It's got such a beautiful, like, iridescent kind of pinkish purpley look. Check that out. So I'm gonna get it all mixed in. The iridescence really shows when it's dispersed, but not in the bag. So I find that interesting. This would look really nice with like kind of a neutral colored blouse. I'm probably just going to add the tiniest bit more. You can add as much as you like, as much as or as little as you like. Obviously, the more you add, the more pigmented it's going to appear on your actual lips. So just going to get that all stirred in. There it is. And so next, we're just going to go ahead and package this up. All right, so we're using these little plastic lip balm or lip oil tubes, and I got these on Amazon. I'll go ahead and place the link below for you as well. And it came with these syringes that fit it perfectly. So I've already put it in the syringe, and we're just going to go ahead and slowly add this into the little tube. There we go. I find it easier if you kind of tap it down, because it's easy for these little guys to get air stuck in it, and then it's hard to fill. That's just such a pretty color to me. I really like it. And there we go. We've just filled the whole tube. I've got a tiny bit left over in my syringe. I'm going to try to fill it. So we made about 15 grams total here. And that seems to fit these little containers almost perfectly. Okay, then we're just going to go ahead and pop the lid on. It comes with these little applicator tops, just like that. And then there you go. You've got yourself a really beautiful lip oil. And then what I'm going to do is wait for the other batch to totally disperse that silica, and we'll be back to finish up the first batch. All right, we're ready to go ahead and finish the first batch here. Now this has been sitting, for probably an hour and a half or so, and I've just been stirring it. I find when I leave this one to sit overnight, the results are, you will see, this will get a tiny bit thicker than it is right now and a little smoother. But I want to go ahead, just for the sake of time, move on with this video here. But this is pretty much the consistency. Super nice. It does again get a little smoother and a little more thick as it sits. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and add a little bit of color. We're going to add a fun color. I'm going to be adding some of this purple Jam Session Mica. This is lip safe and eye safe. It comes from Nurture Soap. This will be a fun one. So I'm adding about 1/4 teaspoon. And we're just going to go ahead and mix that in really well. Isn't that pretty? What a beautiful color. So I'm just going to go ahead and package this one up the same way, except I don't need a syringe for this one. You can actually, this one is pourable, at least if you have an opening that's big enough to take this consistency. So I'm just going to pour it into this little lip gloss container here. Pop the little opening on. And there you go. Isn't that cute? So I think we can go ahead and fill up one more. So give this one up to overnight before you judge the final consistency. So if you want to adjust the consistency on this formula, just don't package it up until you've waited about 24 hours or so. Okay. And there you go. All right, let me show you some of the other colors I made with this. So here are the different colors. We've got this beautiful, take my gloves off. We've got this beautiful kind of brownish burgundy red color. This one's so pretty. I've got this beautiful purple that I just made. And then this beautiful kind of cotton candy pink. And then this is that Echo one that we just made in the video a little earlier that looks like pearlescent on your lips. It's very, very pretty. All right, everybody. I'll go ahead and demonstrate one of these before we sign off. All right, I thought I'd show you two of them. I'm going to show you the ones that we made today so you can see the difference in consistency as well. Might be a little bit hard to see on camera, but this is the purple one we made from scratch with the silica, and it's not going to come out this pigmented on my lips. It just looks super dark in the container here, but it's really not. So we're just going to go ahead and put some of this on. It's got a really nice skin feel. It's perfectly thick. It's got the right amount of like gloss and sheen and feels very hydrating like a lip oil should. And this is really just the color that it gives, just the tiniest little bit. If you wanted to make this more pigmented and actually have that purple show, you could add more mica. It just takes a lot of mica to create a darker colored lip oil or lip gloss. You could use a liquid lip safe dye. Those tend to be a little bit more pigmented. All right, I'll show you the next one. All right, and here's the one we made with the versagel base. See that color? I'm wondering if the camera's picking it up. But it's just got a nice little purple iridescent hue to it. So I'm really liking this one as well for the springtime. All right, everybody, that's how you make a lip oil 2 different ways. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Leave me some questions and comments below. Subscribe to my channel, share this video with a friend. That all helps me out so much and I really appreciate it. And I'll catch you on the next video. Bye, everybody. Keep shining.